Ladies and gentlemen, I'm back with another cool episode. In this one, I want to show you how to transform a plain wall like this into a beautiful accent wall like this one in just a few steps. Let's watch the before and afters first. I removed the electrical plates and then I put a piece of tape on top of all the receptacles. And then I got my trusty pole sander and sanded the entire wall with 120 grit sandpaper. I marked a line about 6 inches below the surface of the ceiling on both sides of the walls, and then I used my chalk line to connect these two lines together. I measured the room with my digital tape measure, I divided the number by 2, and then I left a mark right in the center of the room. So I decided to use 1x2 primed MDF for this whole project. I cut myself a piece at 5 foot long, and then I applied this construction adhesive to the back of it, and then I centered it with the mark that I left on the wall, and then I started nailing it down with my nailer. For this project I used 2-inch 18 gauge brad nails. And then I cut myself a piece of scrap wood at 4.5 inches, and then I used that as a guide to draw 2 lines on both sides of this first trim that I installed. I lined up my laser level with the mark that I left on the wall, and then I installed my second piece right next to it. As far as the measurement for my trim pieces, I was only using 5 foot, 4 foot, and 3 foot pieces. As far as the pattern, this is what I came up with, and I loved it at the end. It turned out super nice and beautiful. But again, possibilities are endless. You can use different size of trim, you can use different spacers, and you could come up with any kind of a style that you like. As long as you follow my guide here, I guarantee you're gonna fall in love with your own work as well. After all the trim was installed, I got my nail set and I went over all the nails to double check and make sure that they're sitting below the surface. If there was anything sticking out, I used my nail set and a hammer to drive them in. After the nails are set, it's time to apply the caulking. As far as the caulking, I had some different type laying around, so I used it, but I highly recommend you to use the Alex Flex by DAP company. That stuff is amazing and it's going to be super ideal for jobs like this one. So I normally apply a very nice and thin bead of that caulking on the seams, and then I go with my finger over it to smooth it out and make it nice and clean. After the caulking is done, it's time to fill the nail holes. For this project also, I'm going to be using the Dynapatch Pro. I really like this stuff. It doesn't shrink up that much and it's easy to sand. I normally don't apply too much of this on top of the nail holes, but in this project, as you can see, I'm applying a little bit extra because I'm gonna sand it very nice and smooth, and I really want this to be done in only one coat. After applying this stuff, I normally wait about a couple of hours and then I come back with a 220 grit sandpaper and sand down the entire surfaces. After the sanding was done, I grabbed my shop vac and cleaned up the entire floor and the whole wall. To get the highest quality paint job and also to make this job very quick, I decided to use my paint sprayer. So I decided to tape up and also use plastic wrap for the whole room. This way I'm gonna have an enclosed area when I'm spraying. I'm not gonna have any overspray in the rest of this room and also this house. For this project I'm using Sherwin-Williams Emerald Designer series of paint, and as far as the finish I'm using satin. I highly recommend using the highest quality paint that you can afford for any type of an accent wall, especially that these walls are going to be the focal point in a room or maybe in the whole house. And also because these walls have a lot of details on them, normally it's not very easy to paint them. So if you want to save yourself some time and headache, make sure you use the highest quality paint that you can find in your area. For this project I used my Graco Magnum X5 airless sprayer, and the tip number that I used was 213. You can definitely use a brush and roller to paint these walls, it's not a big deal. There's only two downsides with it. The first one is you may have to apply multiple coats. In my case I applied 4 coats to cover up this wall. When I was spraying I only used 2 thin coats and it was perfectly done. The other downside is the quality of the paint job is going to be different. When you're spraying everything looks flawless. When you're brushing and rolling it's not going to be as good as the spray texture. After my first coat of paint was dried up, I applied my second coat. I waited about 30 minutes and then I removed all the plastic and the masking tape that I had on the walls and the ceilings. I always use frog tape to get such a nice and crisp lines. To dress up this wall, I picked up this golden metallic paint from my local paint store. This is the type of roller that I picked for this job. As you can see, this is foam, but it has a very tiny fine fuzz to it. So when you apply the paint with it, it's gonna give you the smoothest and nicest finish. So as you can see, I applied it only to the surface of the trim work just to make it pop and look even better. But honestly, once it dried up, I didn't even like the color. I should have just applied this to only 1 or 2 pieces and then wait till it dries up. But I made this mistake and it didn't turn out as good as I thought so. So I went to Home Depot and I picked this metallic paint from their paint department. I was extra careful and gentle when I was applying this paint to the surface of this trim work. I didn't want to transfer any of it to the sides of the trim. All I wanted was to apply a little bit of this just on the outside surface of the trim, and that's all. Now as you can see here, the right side of this wall is painted with the white color and the left side is painted with the golden one. Please let me know in the comment section below. I really need to know which color do you think looks better. Do you go with white or the golden one? I'm just curious and I really want to know what you think. I applied 3 coats of that white metallic paint to all the trim work in this room, and this is also the old light fixture that was in this room, so I decided to replace it with this one to make it even nicer and more modern. At this point this job is done. Let's watch the before and afters one more time. If you're new to this channel, I also have other wall designs like these ones, which I'm showing you right now. I hope you like those ones as well. If you're new here, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you already subscribed, please make sure you hit that notification bell as well. So every time I release a new video, you're gonna be the first person to know about it. Thank you very much for your time. Till next time, peace.